Is there something wrong with your arm, Birdsworth?
Oh, no, Miss Bennett. I just needed a break. It's good for me ticky, you know.
You should be out of cigarettes by now.
Yeah, it's real funny, Miss Bennett. Just when I thought I'd run out and I was dying for a fag, I found a whole packet I'd stashed away for a rainy day. The Lord will provide.
Oh, God. Now get to work, all of you, or there'll be trouble.
The Lord will provide.
Like the Lord helps those who help themselves.
Yeah, I reckon.
We really should clean more carefully in here, girls. There's garbage hanging out of the deep freeze.
What do you think you're doing?
Nothing, Burke. It's just that we like to work in a tidy kitchen. It upsets us to have garbage lying around. Smells real bad, don't it, girls?
Yeah.
Thanks. I reckon rubbish ought to be put where it belongs.
Mr. Fletcher, can I have a word with you, please?
Yes, what is it, Miss Bennett?
I've just come from the laundry. Birdsworth was smoking.
Well, what's so unusual about that?
The women were denied buyout privileges. They should be out of cigarettes by now.
Well, maybe she had an extra packet tucked away somewhere.
That's what she said. But these women are too weak-willed to save anything. Have you noticed anything suspicious among the other girls?
No, I can't say I have.
All right, what's so funny?
We're just enjoying ourselves, Miss Bennett. We love it inside.
That's enough, Gaffney. What's going on?
It's like I said, Miss Bennett, we just love being inside. Of course, not all the women feel the same. Burke was just saying to me a minute ago that she didn't much care for the accommodation. As a matter of fact, we just saw her outside the kitchen and it looked like she was planning to leave.
Come on, out of the way.
Now get on with your work.
Maybe she just didn't like the food, Miss Bennett. She said it tasted like garbage.
What on earth are you doing in there, Burke?
I really don't think it was her idea somehow, Miss Bennett. Oh, on second thought, she does seem rather anxious to get back in there again.
Oh, very funny. Just help me get out of here.
Report to Mrs. Davidson immediately.
Yeah, I think you better have a shower first, though, Burke. You really are a bit on a bugle. Come on. Right.
Oh.
Ugh.
Like I told you, we was just having a bit of fun.
Yeah, well, you can tell it to the governor straight after lunch. I'm sure she'll be fascinated to find out why you chose to have your bit of fun in the rubbish bin. Yeah.
Phew! What have you been doing to yourself, you pog?
Why don't you mind your own business?
Oh, good. You don't have to ask me twice.
Oh, someone put you out with the garbage. Shut up, Smith.
Oh, well. Sounds like someone finally put the trash where it belongs.
Who did it to you?
Yeah, we'd like to know who to thank. Oh, speaking of trash, ladies, that's lunch.
Come in. Thank you, Miss Bennett. Burke, I understand you were found hiding in the grounds this morning.
No, I wasn't.
I beg your pardon?
I wasn't hiding. I was in the bin.
Yes, so I understand. I would like an explanation.
Some of the women warned us. Mr. Fletcher and I got there just in time. She was trying to escape.
Trying to escape? I was not. Who told you that?
That does not concern you. What I would like to know is why you were where you were.
We was just mucking around.
Who's we?
Me and some of me mates.
Their names? Burke, I am waiting for their names.
Well, as I told you, we was just mucking around.
Very well. If you refuse to tell me any more, then you will be refused buyout privileges for the next week. Thank you, Miss Bennett. You can take her back now. I have called this meeting to discuss a proposal put forward by Mr. Reynolds, which in my opinion is of mutual benefit. As some of you already know, Mr. Reynolds runs a clothing factory. He has recently received quite a large contract from the government, and it is his idea that some of our women be allowed to work in the factory making uniforms.
Well, we've successfully had quite a few women out on work release before.
Yes, but this would involve specified women working in the factory all together as a group.
Mrs. Davidson, the women are hard enough to control inside the prison. They could never be trusted outside together.
Yes, I agree with Miss Bennett. How could we maintain security with the women in a group?
May I just interrupt here to say that a similar scheme has been in operation at Parramatta for some time, with a great deal of success. I'm sure any security problem can be overcome.
I'm sure they could, with a great deal of extra work from the staff.
Mr. Reynolds showed me through his factory yesterday, and there is an area where the women could be completely segregated from the rest of the workers. I don't think that security would be as difficult to maintain as you imagine.
There would still have to be an officer on duty outside the prison. Well, it strikes me that all the benefits are to Mr. Reynolds.
How would the women get back and forth from the prison?
I was planning to supply a minibus, at my own expense, of course. That should take care of any transportation problem.
Well, that's very generous. But then I imagine you're saving quite a bit of money using the women here as cheap labor.
Look, Miss Bennett, is it? Naturally, the women wouldn't be paid as much as the ordinary workers. But money was not my prime consideration. I simply thought the scheme would be beneficial to all concerned.
Well, I think if we iron out the problems, we should at least give it a try.
Yes, but I don't think the benefits are worth all the problems it could create.
Well, I suggest we put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Well, I think it's well worth a try. And with my vote, the suggestion is carried.
Oh, Mrs. Davidson, might I suggest that if Mr. Reynolds has time, we take him down and introduce him to some of the women who will be involved in this project and find out what they have to say about it.
Well, I do have to get back, but if we could do it right away.
Certainly.
They'll think it's a wonderful idea. We're playing right into their hands.
Well, it's been nice meeting you all. I'm sorry you're not all in agreement, but I'm sure it will work out very well.
Well, that's Mr. Reynolds' proposition. I take it you all approve of the idea?
Oh, we sure do, Mrs. Davidson.
I'm sure you realise that this is a privilege and will be withdrawn if you abuse it.
Oh, we wouldn't do that, Mrs. Davidson.
Or just make sure that you don't. To encourage you, normal privileges will be restored as of now.
Oh, terrific.
Well, that is all. Carry on with your work.
Ladies.
Bye. Bye. Oh, isn't he nice? Gee, Lizzie, I might even get to see Kevin somehow.
Yeah, and with a bit of a fiddle, I might be able to keep an eye on my newfound family.
All right, you two. That's enough of your half-baked schemes. We have just been offered a good deal. I'm not going to see either of you mess it up. That goes for the rest of you, too. Clear?
Yes.
Good. Clear?
Yeah.
OK, back to work. We don't want Mr. Reynolds to think we're not good workers.
And how's Jason?
Oh, he's just fine now. Tim and I are both so grateful for the way you helped, getting us to the hospital and all.
Well, I hope Tim didn't think I was too interfering.
Heavens, no. Oh, I can see you got the wrong impression of Tim. Though I must admit, the few times you have seen him, he hasn't exactly been at his best. But when you get to know him, you'll find he's really a great bloke. Sometimes I wouldn't blame him if he left me.
Why?
Oh, well, I'm not exactly the greatest housekeeper in the world. I don't have to tell you, you've seen the place. I don't know. I never even seem to get time to cook properly. When he gets home, the place is in a mess and the kids are screaming and... Oh, I don't blame him for losing his temper sometimes. Oh, I guess you can hear us in here.
Well, the walls in these buildings are rather thin.
Well, everybody fights.
It must be hard for him to keep his patience with the children after a long day at work.
Yeah.
Especially Jason. I noticed he's got a lot of bruises. I suppose with all that energy, he's always throwing himself around and bumping into things. Oh, I must nearly drive you up the wall. I suppose he's got to be smacked now and then.
Listen, I better go. I really shouldn't leave the kids for this long.
Oh, you haven't been very long. Besides, you said they were asleep. Do you want another cup?
Oh, thanks anyway, but I'd better go back and start tidying up the flat. Thanks for the coffee, and I'll see you later.
Will you drop in any time?